What's up, guys? Sean here from Srkcycles.com, driving a 2008 Harley Davidson Sportster 1200 Custom. And on top of that, it's been even more customed. One, they mounted the gauges from up here to down there. You see that? That's kind of cool. Two, he's got like little mini apes. What are these, like 18s? Maybe 14s? Little mini apes. Personally, a little more narrow for my taste. I would want them to be a little more open. He's also got some cool looking, what are these, Hansen Hines? Cool looking Hansen Hines pipes on them. They look sick. Steel braided lines. It's actually, all the stuff he did to it is actually pretty clean looking. Oh, yo, I can't forget. We got to start the day off with the words of wisdom. Ephesians 4:32. And be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Christ forgave you. So we should be forgiving people, just like Christ forgave us. Yeah! Looks like he also mounted the turn signal lights in a different way. I think the bike looks cool. I love that Harley black and orange. But I know a lot of guys don't like it. They think it's obnoxious, like, yeah, I need a black bike. But something about that Harley Davidson black and orange, man, it just pops. Whoa! I'm getting used to these more narrow grips. Any more narrow than this, I don't like it. But this ain't bad. And if you notice the where these bars go in proportion to my shoulders, I think from looking at it, it's actually pretty it looks pretty level. It looks pretty level to me, and that's why it's pretty comfortable. Pretty comfortable ride. These bars do need to be tightened up though. You lean back on them and they just pull back. Let's see if Caleb can keep up as I shred up this mountain over here. Caleb would smoke me if he tried. It's a good bike. I like this thing. This is what people call like a bar hopper. I think that's a horrible idea. Why don't go to the bar on your bike unless you're the designated driver? But if you're the designated driver, why are you driving a motorcycle? So I think this is a good, like, let's say cafe hopper. It's a good coffee shop hopper. It's good, like, diner hopper, you know. Yeah, it's a good bike that, you know, takes you to, and what people are talking about is it's good for the shorter rides, you know, where you want to be loud and obnoxious, but you don't want to, after 20 minutes of being loud and obnoxious, it's loud and obnoxious to you. You can only be loud and obnoxious for so long before you just start not liking it. But it's a pretty comfortable bike, and there's tons of people who do big trips on these bikes like this. Those people are idiots! Nah, just kidding. Yeah, you hear stories about guys doing, like, running like 883s to Sturgis and back and stuff. It's actually very impressive. You got to give them credit for it. They spend like 3 weeks in the hospital after, just from like chronic back pain and everything. But everyone respects those guys. I mean, I did 1,200 miles on 2 days on a GSX-R 600. That was pretty awesome. It wasn't bad. You get off and your butt hurts. Your pride's there. And you're also going very fast. Yeah, pretty close to it. A two-piece. Wearing a two-piece tracksuit the whole time. Hello, lady. This bike runs good. It's a Sportster, so of course it's a 5-speed. I do like the custom. I like that wider, bigger tank. It's a good look. I think this thing's very, very tastefully modified. In most cases, these are modifications that you would have done, or they're done but you don't hate them. Not that many people are going to remove the gauges, but it's down there. It doesn't look bad. No reason to hate it. It makes the right side of the bike look awesome. Because you're like, oh, it's very clean, there's no gauge. I'm always hearing those riders complain, they're like, I love my bike, but the gauge is so accessible. I hate how I can easily see the gauge. But this ain't bad. And if you always wanted to move it back, you should relocate it back. You know, it's still the stock Harley gauge. It wasn't like they had to change anything big. This bike's got a good sound. It's pretty loud. It's not as obnoxious as that Suzuki GSX-R I just got done test driving. If you want to see that video, go check it out. I smoked you. If you ever wondered if a Harley Davidson 1200 could smoke a Kawasaki 190 horsepower concourse, the answer is, oh no, he's winning. The answer is yes. And I just did. Yeah, this bike feels good. You know what I really like about it? Black handlebars. If it were chrome, it would look like a different bike, but they're black. A lot of things that are on this bike are blacked out, but it's got enough chrome that you're like, yeah, I do need to spend 2 hours in the garage every weekend cleaning it up. I'm going for it. I lost Caleb. I think when I said I'm going for it, should have been a good enough hint to you of whether or not I was deciding to go for it. I also like these grips. They're tasteful. They're not stock. They got a little more like texture to them, but they're not like Kuryakin bubble grips that everyone seems to love, but I seem to hate. Yeah. Taking a lift. The bike handle's pretty good. It's got these forward controls. They're not so forward that short guys couldn't ride them. Better than the mid-range, but they're out of the way. You know, so I could, you know, you could be taking the corners, you know, fairly low, and you're probably not gonna be dragging a peg. But if you do, whatever. Yeah. Caleb says I might be dragging kickstand before I drag peg. Alright guys, that wraps up 2008 Harley Davidson Sportster 1200 Custom in the color of orange. It's a good looking bike. I bet this guy spent around, I don't know, close to 2,000 bucks in modifications to it. That's 2,000 bucks you don't gotta spend. Alright guys, remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going.